Investigators in Moscow say a car bomb killed one of Russia's top commanders in its war on Ukraine. According to reports, Lieutenant General Fanil Sarvarov died around 7 a.m. local time. Russia's investigative committee says it's looking for a link to Ukrainian intelligence services. The Kremlin has repeatedly accused Kyiv of targeting high-profile figures connected with Russia's war effort.
This is the aftermath of the explosion. According to Russian authorities, a bomb detonated beneath the car of Lieutenant General Fanil Sarvarov, fatally wounding him and causing panic among local residents.
My mother woke me up in panic. I saw policemen, firefighters and ambulances arriving. I thought somebody needed help, so I went outside and asked the neighbors if they needed any assistance. When I realized there was no danger, I returned home.
It was frightening. At first I thought a Shahed drone or some other Ukrainian drone had been shot down.
56-year-old Fanil Sarvarov was a senior Russian general and long-standing veteran of Russia's military campaigns, serving in Chechnya and Syria. Most recently, he was responsible for operational training on Russia's general staff and was involved in the war in Ukraine. As forensic teams comb through the wreckage searching for evidence, investigators say they are looking at several possible motives for the killing, including whether Ukrainian intelligence services are involved. There has been a string of bombings targeting pro-war figures since the beginning of Russia's full-scale war on Ukraine. Moscow has repeatedly accused Ukrainian operatives of being behind the killings. In the case of Lieutenant General Fanil Sarvarov, Kyiv has yet to comment.
Military analyst Marina Miron from King's College London joins us. This is the third such killing of a senior military officer in a year. Does this cast doubt on the performance of Russia's security services?
Good evening, Ben. Well, if you look at it from this perspective, 3 killings of high-ranking generals, and we're talking lieutenant generals. There are not many lieutenant generals in the Russian armed forces. It is a lot. That being said, we don't know how many attempts have been prevented and which personnel has been targeted, which other generals have been targeted. Therefore, it is difficult to say whether the FSB is doing a good job or not. Maybe there were 20 attempts and only 3 succeeded, and from that perspective, it would be a very poor record.
Could you tell us more about this latest killing, how important this Lieutenant General was for the Russian army?
Well, the importance is also in his biography. He's very experienced. He worked in the main operational directorate of the General Staff before becoming the head of operational directorate of the MOD. And what that means is that he gained not only combat experience in Chechnya, he also planned operations in Syria, and the Syrian campaign is considered as a victory from the Russian perspective. So he gained a lot of experience on the modern battlefield to see how operations look on the ground. And for Ukraine, for instance, his new role, which he assumed in 2016, would mean that he was responsible for combat readiness and for military exercises of the Russian armed forces of all branches. In addition to that, of course, in the context of the war in Ukraine, this general would take political aims which the Kremlin would provide the MOD with, and translate them into operational plans, as well as lessons from the battlefield. And again, he would adjust them for operational training and combat readiness of the troops. So there is a lot that he has been doing in his role, specifically relating to Ukraine. Therefore, his position was very important, and probably it will be not easy to find a replacement because he's been in that position for 9 years. Even somebody who has a similar experience will have difficulty joining and taking over and continuing in the same fashion.
Moscow has opened a criminal case. It's investigating potential Ukrainian links. How credible are the claims and what may follow diplomatically or militarily?
Well, certainly there might be a military response, comparing it to the last killings. In terms of who it might have been, we don't know anything about the private life of this general, whether he had any sort of personal issues or any debts or anything of the like. So we have to consider all possibilities. But given this trend and what we have discussed with previous killings, of course, his position and his skill set would be very interesting for the Ukrainian intelligence services, more specifically the SBU, and they would have the capability to conduct such, say, targeted killing or targeted assassination, and knowing that removing this lieutenant general will most likely disrupt, or even for a brief period would disrupt, Russian operational planning in Ukraine. So there would be a negative effect on the one hand. On the other hand, the SBU, knowing the setbacks that Ukraine is suffering on the battlefield, needs to demonstrate resolve, needs to demonstrate to the international community and to the Ukrainian population their capabilities, and of course send a message to the rest of Russian high-ranking generals, basically saying that we can get you if we try very hard. And so it is likely that there is an SBU trail there, but we have to wait until the investigation is over, because, as I said, there could be other options. How probable they are, maybe less probable than the Ukrainian link.
Okay, thank you very much for the analysis, Marina. Marina Miron there.
Thank you for having me.